What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Thunderbyte29 here, and yep, I am back today with another video, and this time we're going to be doing a different kind of video. As last month on my community page, a lot of people have been requesting me to make a video of what do I think of every season of Chapter 1. So today I'm going to be doing just that, except I'm not going to be using gameplay, I'm going to be using a tier maker, because there are 10 seasons I'm going to have to rank from worst to best, which the S tier means the best, F tier means the worst. And I don't know why these Chapter 2 seasons were in here as well, but that's why I put them at the end, so I make sure I don't accidentally rank them. So anyways, guys, let's get started. So let's start with the season that started it all. Season 1. Even though there was no battle pass in it, the map was still enjoyable. You had a good decent amount of weaponry. I'm going to put that in the A tier. Like, overall, the map was great. The events were awesome, especially the Halloween event when you had the Halloween rocket launcher. Like, that was great back then. Then you had a couple of great items that made an appearance as well. But overall, even though it may not have been like the most perfect season, it had a great start for the game. And that was the beginning of Fortnite, and it was the beginning to also making Fortnite the great game that it was back then as well, which we will talk about a little bit more in a little bit. So now let's start Chapter 1, Season 9. I'm definitely going to put that in the F tier. The season was, overall, it was just, there was so much unbalancing. The Battle Pass was pretty terrible. But I'll definitely admit, it's better than some Chapter 2 seasons, but the only thing that was really great about the season was the locations, but that season was nothing but a sweat show. That season was so terrible. And you didn't have the pump shotgun at all. You had 4 spam shotguns make an appearance. You had the drum shotgun, you had the combat shotgun, you had the tac, which the tac has always been in the game, by the way. And then you had another one, which I don't exactly remember. I think it was the double barrel, but I'm not totally sure. But all I just remember was there was a bunch of spam shotguns, and it was just pretty annoying. But the map was great, but the gun balancing, the sweat players, and the battle pass was what was terrible about the season, so that's why I think it belongs in the F tier. Now, for Season 7, I'm going to put that in the D tier. The reason why it doesn't belong in the F tier is because the map was really, really great. The battle pass was somewhat decent, and it also had a great storyline. But Season 9 had a great storyline, but the reason why I also put this season in the D tier was because also you had the release of creative mode, which was the beginning, which is what really began the decline of Fortnite, because that's when when the sweats would spend hours on it hitting clips in creative. And you also had the Infinity Blade, which was really, really annoying. And the planes were somewhat kind of annoying, especially when a lot of the modders and hackers on computer were using planes to like use aimbot and stuff. It was just a mess. But I mean, the one thing that I really did like about the season was the Storm King event, where you had the snowstorm that had a giant snowstorm cover up the entire map. That was really great. The season overall, it also had good gun balancing in some way. It did, and the locations were pretty great as well. Season 4, I think I'm going to put that in the B tier. Even though it wasn't perfect like Season 2 and Season 3, the game was still really fun. And people still had fun with the game, and this was a season that you can actually enjoy without taking the game so seriously. People still had fun with the game. Even if you didn't win the game, you still had fun with it. Like, you had a lot of things you could do on the side instead of just focusing on getting a victory royale. Like, you can shoot soccer balls into goals, you can play a little bit of golf, you can shoot basketballs into hoops, you can drive around in golf carts. Like, that's what made the game so fun. You didn't have to constantly focus on the game. You could just do stuff on the side and have a little bit of fun while you're playing the actual game itself without having to take it so seriously. But the reason why I wouldn't put it in the A or the S tier was because of the release of Playground Mode, which was 6 months before Creative Mode, and that's when people really, really started sweating. But it wasn't so bad back then. It wouldn't be so bad until 2019. But now let's go to Season 5. I'm going to put that in the C tier. The season was somewhat decent. It had decent locations, but it was a little bit kind of boring. Like the Battle Pass was kind of like, kind of. Same thing with Season 6. Actually, I'm going to put that. Nah, it doesn't really matter. They're both in the C tier. But that's kind of the same reason I'd say with Season 5. It's because, I mean, the Battle Passes were decent. The map was decent. Like, it was half good and it was half, like, bad. But it wasn't, like, the worst ever. So I think it's kind of fair that I put them both in the middle. Now, Season 8, I'm going to definitely put this in the C tier. Like, it was really, really fun at first. The season was decent. Like, you had a lot of good weaponry. Like, the storyline was great and the locations were enjoyable. But it wasn't until, like the middle of the season where it started going downhill. Like, they took out the pump shotgun for the first time in the game's history. Then the pump got replaced by the combat. A lot of people were so annoyed with the combat. And they also destroyed Tilted Towers and a part of Retail Row as well. But overall, the map was great, and I love the storyline, and a lot of the weaponry and the events were also awesome, but I think it deserves to be in the C tier, especially with that fact by getting rid of the pump and replacing it with the spam shotgun and getting rid of Tilted Towers. And now, Season X, definitely awful. I'm putting that in the F. Nah, I'm actually going to put it in the D tier. I'm going to put it in the back of the D tier. Like, I think it was definitely worse than Season 7. Because like I said in my Fortnite documentary, it had one of the most unbalanced updates since the Infinity Blade, because we were also introduced with something even worse than planes, which was the brutes, which people called mechs. Like, the mechs had also received tons and tons of backlash from the Fortnite community. Like, they were fun at first, but if you had one, you were unstoppable, but if you didn't have one, you were going to have a pretty bad day. But the reason why I don't completely put it in the F tier, because Epic Games actually did take action on that. They actually somewhat cared about their game back then, and within 3 weeks they took the mechs out of the game. They listened to the Fortnite community's anger and rage with the mechs. Like, people were that frustrated with it. I mean, and also the season was also a sweat show as well, just like Season 9. But I also liked how they also did bring back the pump shotgun, which is what needed to be done in the first place, and getting a chance to see some of the old OG locations before we would end up being replaced with Chapter 2 Season 1. So, in my opinion, the season was not too bad, but it was not that good either. But I would definitely take it than Chapter 2 Season 6 or 7. Now let's go to Chapter 2 Season 2. I'm going to put this in the A tier. Like, the season was very, very great. I love this Battle Pass. Like, if I was going to do a Battle Pass video, I would probably put this in the S tier. But for the season overall, I put it in the A tier. Like, the season was really great. I especially love the Christmas event, where you had the map covered in snow on Christmas. And you also had a New Year's event as well. And I love the Black Knight, but sadly, I didn't get the Battle Pass in time, and I didn't play the game that much enough to get the Black Knight. But I did get the Blue Squire, and I did get the Worm emote, so I was pretty happy about that. But I still had fun with the game, and it was still enjoyable, even though you didn't win. But what made Fortnite so enjoyable within the first year, like I've said before, everyone kind of sucked at it, and then people just got better over time. But now let's go to Chapter 1, Season 3. You know where that's going. That's definitely going in the S tier. This, by far, in my opinion, was definitely the best season overall. Like, the theme of it was great. The storyline was so great. The skins and the battle pass, spot on. Even though they did destroy Dusty Depot with a meteor, and then you had a giant crater. You had, like, a space station there. Like, that was so great. Like, the storyline, it had a great concept. Then you had a lot of great other locations. Like, you had Tilted Towers, and then you had several others. Like, it was so fun to play. Like, this is definitely where I got the most enjoyment out of this game. And Easter was also pretty fun as well. Even though it did have a crossover, yes, it had John Wick, but that was the first ever crossover that this game had. But in my opinion, it was definitely a great season, and they didn't obsessively use crossovers so much back then like we know today. I know I'm probably going to get some backlash with some of my rankings that I did, but this is my overall opinion. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and if you really enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and maybe in the future, maybe I might add in the Chapter 2 seasons along with these seasons as well. But tell me in the comments below if you want to see that, or if you have any interest in that at all. But if you have a question you want to ask me, you can tell me in the comments, or any suggestions, tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear all your thoughts. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more. And I will see you all in the next video. And this is ThunderBuddy29, signing off.